Hey guys, it's Griselda. So today I'm at my property in Calgary and I wanted to share with you what I did to pass the fire inspection. So as you know, the city of Calgary has added some new regulations for anybody who needs to renew their short-term business license, which needs to be done every year. So the new regulations include submitting a fire plan, submitting proof of ownership, submitting a proof of insurance, and then you also have to call the City of Calgary Fire Department to schedule a fire inspection. So in previous years, fire inspections were only required if you were applying for a Tier 2 license, meaning that a Tier 2 was any property that housed 10 people or more. But now they require fire inspection for both Tier 1 and Tier 2. You should have received a link to the Calgary's short-term rental owner's responsibility manual. If you didn't, I will link it below and you can take a read of it. It's quite long, but it does have all the information you need to make sure that you're ready for the fire inspection. But there are some details in there that you know, it's not really clear. So hopefully if I can show you what they were checking when they came to do my inspection, that will help you out and you can be ready and pass with no problems. So I did pass, but yeah, I just wish there were some things that I knew ahead of time. So okay, I will go through it. So the first thing they checked is the fire detectors. So they will do a test, and that's pretty easy to do. You just have to press the button up on the smoke detector, and you have to do that every week and also after every checkout. And what they test is to make sure they're working, and also when one of them goes off, all of them need to go off at the same time as well. So for the detectors, every room needs to have a smoke detector. If there is a room with a fuel source, so like your furnace, or if you have a gas oven, you need to also have a carbon monoxide detector in that room. So in this case, I only have a furnace downstairs, so the carbon monoxide detector is down in that area. All the other detectors are just smoke detectors. So there is a difference. If you don't have the right detectors, you could buy some. They do sell them at Home Depot. They have 3 different kinds, so just make sure you check, because there is some that are only smoke detectors, some that are dual, both carbon monoxide and smoke, and then there's some that are just carbon monoxide detectors. So just make sure you pick the right one and that you put it in the right spot. So there wasn't really any specific requirement to have the fire plan certified. I did make this fire plan on my own using Canva. So yeah, if you guys need help with that, just message me below, and I can see if I can provide you guys the template. I'm not sure if anybody needs help with that kind of stuff, but so that's number 1, step 1. Step 2 is the fire extinguishers. So these I just bought this at Home Depot. They also sell them at Rona. But the important thing about this is that you need to have them certified. So you have to take them to a service provider that certifies them. So they put this, they check them and they put this tag on it that, and you have to do this every year. And it was actually a lot easier than I thought. If you just Google fire extinguisher certification provider, you can probably find a lot in your area, and it was pretty fast. So I just actually took them to the facility. They checked them. It was $20 per extinguisher, and then they'll put you in the system so that they can remind you when you have to do it next year. They also come to your house and do it if you want to. It's just gonna cost more. So I was just trying to save money, and I took them myself. Another important thing about these is that the mounting, the height at where you mount it. So it has to be at least 3 feet above the floor and no higher than 5 feet above the floor. So I mounted all of these at 4 feet just to stay on the safe side. And then in terms of location, it has to be a location that can be, how do I say this, like it's between the exit and the fire. So for example, in here, if the stove is over there, the fire extinguisher is over here closer to the doorway. So if there was a kitchen fire and I would be standing here, then I can easily come and grab the fire extinguisher. And if I thought the fire was too big for me to handle, I can easily just run out the door. So that was, you kind of have to think about the layout a little bit and kind of determine what's the best place to mount it. So that's where it gets tricky, where like the guidelines are not going to tell you exactly where to mount it. It kind of depends what your layout looks like and where the fire exits are, meaning like the doors and windows. And then obviously you want to locate it where it's very visible. So actually originally I had it installed under the counter, and that was not, he said that was, he wanted me to move it because he said that was in a spot where potentially someone could miss it if they're, you know, startled by the fire going on, right? So and that makes sense. So yeah, I had to relocate it here. It's very visible, so as you come in the door, it's pretty much the first thing you see when you walk in. So I would say that's a good tip. Okay, and then the third thing they checked was all the windows. So the windows need to open and close easily. So for example, what I did for the fire inspection, I actually just made sure I had all these windows opened. So I just lifted the blinds, made sure all the windows were unlocked, because they're gonna come and open every window, and they're gonna check that they're the right size, that they open and close. So if it's not working, you need to get that fixed right away, or else you're not gonna pass. Another thing, it didn't really come up in my inspection, but I know they're also checking to make sure you don't have any clutter or stuff that's, you know, messy or could cause a fire. So I would just make sure your place is super duper clean and there's no clutter outside or inside your home. So another thing that he mentioned was that once you get the the approval, you need to post it actually on the outside of your home. So I'm probably gonna put it somewhere outside the door. Also, the approval now, based on the new regulation, is 2 people per bedroom. So because this, for example, this property has 4 bedrooms, it's only allowed for a maximum occupancy of 8. So it kind of changes a little bit the tier 1 and tier 2. Like I said, in previous years, if you had occupancy of more than 10, you had to get the fire inspection. But now that's kind of completely changed. So now everybody needs to get an inspection, and you can only occupy depending on how many bedrooms you have.